So you've probably looked at real estate investing and thought, man, that looks awesome, but I don't have a giant pile of cash just sitting around in my bank account, right? Look, if that's you, you are absolutely not alone. That lack of capital is literally the number one barrier keeping people on the sidelines. But what if that barrier is kind of an illusion? In this explainer, we're going to dive into how shifting your mindset can actually help you build wealth and generate passive income without needing a massive war chest of cash. We're pulling our core strategies today straight from a seriously fantastic resource, Brandon Turner's definitive guide, the book on investing in real estate with no and low money down. And hey, just to be clear, we aren't talking about some sketchy late-night infomercial get-rich-quick scheme here. We're looking at real, highly practical strategies that substitute cash with pure creativity. As we go through this, you'll see that real estate isn't just about trading dollars. It's a giant puzzle that rewards creative problem solving. And honestly, that brings us to the very first hurdle we have to clear, our own brains. Robert Kiyosaki hit the nail on the head when he pointed out that saying, "I can't afford it," immediately shuts down your brain. It just lets you off the hook. But if you flip that defeated statement into an empowered question, "How can I afford it?" you force your brain to get to work. You literally force yourself to hunt for unconventional solutions. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the creative investing mindset. Think about traditional assets for a second, like stocks or mutual funds. Your return is strictly capped by whatever cash you initially put in. If you've got $1,000, you buy $1,000 worth of stock, and then you just sit and wait. But creative real estate is a completely different ballgame. You can actually replace cash with determination, time, and mental effort. You're basically leveraging your knowledge to create value out of thin air. It's all about substituting money with motivation. To pull this off, you need what Turner calls the investor toolbox. Think about a handyman showing up to a job site. He doesn't just walk in holding a single hammer, right? He brings a saw, a drill, a whole set of wrenches, because he doesn't know exactly what the job is going to throw at him. It's the exact same thing in real estate. You might not use every single financing strategy today, but you need them in your toolbox so you're totally prepared when that perfect opportunity pops up. Which brings us nicely to section 2, 4 rules of investing. Now, before we go grabbing tools and swinging hammers, we need some ground rules so we don't crash and burn. These 4 guardrails are absolutely crucial for mitigating risk. Rule 1, you've got to find even better deals. If you're borrowing the money, your margins are tight, so you need a steal of a purchase price. Rule 2, be incredibly conservative in your estimates. Just assume the taxes will go up and the boiler will break. Rule 3, embrace sacrifice. You might be crunching numbers at 4 a.m. or living with some incredibly ugly 1970s carpet. And Rule 4, which is arguably the most important, maintain a financial cushion. I really want to double-click on Rule 4 for a second. Look, just because you buy a property with zero money down does not mean you should have $0 to your name. Seasoned investors know that Murphy's Law is going to happen. Having a cash safety net to weather unexpected storms like an eviction, a long vacancy, or a blown-out roof is completely non-negotiable. Seriously, you can go totally broke buying great deals if you don't have a cushion to absorb the bumps in the road. All right, moving to section 3, the owner-occupied strategy. With those safety rules locked in, let's look at the ultimate vehicle for beginners, the owner-occupied strategy. You've generally got 2 paths here. You can buy a single-family home that maybe needs some serious cosmetic help, live in it, fix it up to build massive sweat equity, and then rent it or sell it later. Or you can go the multifamily route, buying a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. Multifamily is amazing because it's all about immediate cash flow. You can literally have your tenants pay your entire mortgage while you live there for free. If we break down the math on a typical triplex, it's pretty wild. Say you live in one unit and rent out the other 2 for $500 each. That's $1,000 right there. If it's a fourplex, maybe you get $1,500 total. Now, if your total monthly expenses, meaning your mortgage, taxes, insurance, all of it, come to $1,200, but you're pulling in $1,500, you are left with $300 a month in pure profit. Think about that for a second. You aren't just living rent-free, you are actually getting paid $300 every single month just to live in your own house. Let's dive into section 4, low money down loans. Okay, let's crack open that toolbox. It turns out 3.5% is the magic number for a lot of investors. The FHA loan is a government-insured program that requires an astoundingly low 3.5% down payment. Because the Federal Housing Authority is insuring the loan, the bank feels safe lending to you, which drastically lowers the barrier to entry compared to that standard 20% down. Just keep in mind, because it's government insured, you'll pay a mortgage insurance premium every month. That's exactly why Rule 1, finding an amazing deal, is so critical to make sure the math still works. Let's look at how this plays out in real life with an investor from our source material named Lindsay. She found a triplex and negotiated the price down to $90,000. Using an FHA loan, she only needed 3.5% down. That's just $3,150 out of pocket. Even with taxes, insurance, and that extra premium, her monthly payment was around $680. Because she rented the other 2 units out for $1,000 total, she was instantly generating positive cash flow while living in her unit. And the best part? Once she moves out and rents her unit too, that property becomes a massive cash cow.
But here's where we get to the really fun and creative stuff. What if the only property you can afford is a total dump? We're talking no kitchen, maybe raccoons living in the walls? Most banks will run away screaming from a house like that. Enter the 203K loan. This is a special type of FHA loan that lets you roll the renovation costs right into your main mortgage. This is a total game changer because you bypassed all the heavy competition for those pretty move-in ready houses and target the ugly, distressed properties that everyone else is too scared to touch.
Let's play what if with Lindsay's triplex for a second. Imagine it was completely trashed. With a 203K loan, she covers the $90,000 purchase price, plus gets a contractor to bid, say, $10,000 to fix it up. New carpets, fresh paint, cabinets, the works. The bank looks at the total project cost of $100,000 and bases her 3.5% down payment on that. So for just $3,500 down, Lindsay buys the place and gets it totally renovated, paying off those repairs over 30 years instead of draining her bank account on day one. Let's look at one more incredible example. Take Eddie up in Boston. Now, Boston is a notoriously expensive market, right? Regular homes easily go for $500,000. Eddie found a trashed, vacant duplex for $315,000. He used a 203K loan to roll in $34,000 for a massive cleanup and renovation. After closing costs, he brought about $12,000 to the table. He lives on one side and rents the other out for a staggering $2,900 a month, basically covering his whole mortgage. But here is the absolute kicker. After the repairs, the property appraised at $500,000. Through sheer creativity, Eddie immediately forced $150,000 in brand new equity into that property. Unbelievable. Eddie, Lindsay, and countless other investors didn't start with millions of dollars in the bank. They started by asking, how can I afford it? And then they dug into their investor toolbox. So now that you've got the mindset, the safety rules, and an understanding of the incredible leverage of owner-occupied loans like the FHA and 203K, it really all comes down to you. The knowledge is there, the tools are there. So which tool are you going to reach for first to start building your own wealthy future?